Your favorite fat boys.
Man, I'm on the track, bitch.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite fat boy, Jerron.
Stefan, aka Mayhem, aka Mr. Donate to my Patreon, aka the leader of the black delegation.
Wakanda forever. What's up, everybody? Thank you for coming in, tuning in for another episode of your favorite fat boys podcast. So today's episode, we're going to do a quick take on a lot of different topics that's been going on in the last few weeks here with the recent news of everything going on with Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter campaign, along with the convictions of was it 3 or 4 officers?
4, were they convicted?
No, just one was convicted so
Right.
far. So just, what's going on with that situation there, Breonna Taylor's case, and a couple other things as well as far as, a lot of support to the Black Lives Matter campaign too. So we're going to start with, a lot of these corporations come out of the woodworks and showing their support for Black Lives Matter. Like I've seen Disney, Lego, and Michael Jordan and Nike, just to name a few, coming out showing that they're going to support tens of millions of dollars over the next few years.
Right.
Support,
better late than never. So even with the case with like Michael Jordan, his foundation, they've always done some charitable donation, but this is the most they've ever done. And this is a person who could have done this level of donation before, but better late than never. And at the very least, this says all of these corporations realize that black people are a necessity for them to maintain their business and to maintain the riches that they amass. So them throwing a little bit back into the system and back into support for these movements just shows that, okay, they really do know that we are necessary for them to maintain
and I think that's
the level
good to
of
be
business.
acknowledged.
Right.
Especially when you think of, for instance, like Nike and the Michael Jordan brand,
Right.
how much the black audience spends their money, on Nike and Michael Jordan brand itself. Because I think he's going to donate $100 million over the next 10 years. So,
Right.
And like you say, he's back then during his career when he was playing, he wasn't that vocal on social injustices, or he didn't speak up at all against anything that was going on as a player. Not as vocal as some of the players are today.
Right.
And he was always criticized for that. So to see him, make that contribution is cool. Like, okay, you're trying to do the right thing now.
So yeah, with all these corporations, it's better late than never.
So is it more so like a, hey, we're on your side, or is it genuine, or is it just like a ploy?
I would say, what difference does it make? The sole purpose of a corporation is to make money. And if me throwing a few $1 million in your general direction will allow you to continue to support my ability to make money, whether I'm doing it to pander to you or I'm doing it out of the genuine kindness of my heart, the end result is going to be the same. I want you to continue spending money with me.
So there's no kindness in my heart with the corporations then?
A corporation is a faceless entity. It's not a person.
That is true.
They don't need to have a soul per se.
That's true. True. I like that. So a lot of with the riots going on, you see a lot of police violence, and
let's call them what they are. They're police riots. Because based off of all of the video that we've seen in there, I believe there's like a Facebook page and a Twitter page that just showcasing all of the acts of police violence during the protest. The vast majority of protests were peaceful.
yes,
But police went heavy-handed out that motherfucker and said, jack boots on the masses.
So do you know? I guess during a riot, or during a protest, like it is stages to what protocol should be used to de-escalate the situation. To me, what I see on videos is just, okay, it's peaceful. They're going back, like the protests are going back and forth with they're talking to the cops. and then all of a sudden pepper spray or it's like tear gas. How does it get?
Typically they'll get a call from on high to say break this up, and that's how they break it up. They rubber bullets, pepper spray, take those riot shields, and knock people on their asses.
Did we talk about rubber bullets in the last episode?
I don't think we did.
Because what did you say about rubber bullets? They're not.
No, yeah, they're not non-lethal. They're less lethal.
Because they show videos of them getting fucked up with them.
Oh yeah. Rubber bullet. You can still die from being shot with a rubber bullet. A lot of people, they get shot in the face. They lose an eye, concussions. Rubber bullet is still a bullet.
So I saw this image where they said the gun when you are shooting a rubber bullet, you should be aiming down.
Yeah, that was one technique that they were saying that you should use, that you ricochet it towards a person because it's supposed to cause less force. But the problem with that is that you don't have any control on where the bullet's going to go. Mm-hmm. So you can end up hitting someone that you didn't intend to, but then again, you shooting into a crowd. I'm assuming you intend to hit somebody in the crowd. But yeah, that's supposed to be the way that they say to do it, is to shoot at an angle towards the ground so that it can ricochet, losing some of its force, so it's not as lethal as it can be when you just point a fucking gun in somebody's face and pull the trigger.
So when they were designing this concept, and like you said, this should be maybe you should hit it at an angle maybe, but why can't they come up with something that's not a bullet? Maybe that'd be less lethal.
Police officers like guns.
Maybe they should do slingshots.
Hey! You know the story of David and Goliath. You can kill somebody with a properly placed slingshot.
Why don't we get everybody Nerf guns then? Or water guns?
Then it just turns into a field trip. And we're trying to show you that we are the authority.
I mean, you still kick ass with a Nerf gun, though.
You can't kick that much ass.
Well, how much ass you trying to kick during a protest?
Well, obviously a whole lot. If you look at all of the police videos where they just beating the shit out of people.
I seen one video where this officer, he had a baton. I don't know what this baton is made out of. I don't know if it's a sturdy plastic or like metal.
Yeah, it's either a metal or a very sturdy plastic.
But he caught back full force, and he welded this kid, this teenager, and you heard the thud this made, and the kid got a severe head injury. Mm-hmm. And it was brutal because he used full force.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think he got applauded because he got suspended. No, you said that was a different video.
Yeah. The applause video was for the individuals who knocked over the 75-year-old man. He cracked his head on the skull and was bleeding out his ear.
And he said he tripped.
Yeah. That was their initial report, was that he tripped.
Right.
He fell backwards and hit his head. But then the video came out and they showed the two officers, poof, put that force into that man's body and knocked his old ass over.
I don't see why they pushed him. I mean, I get it. Like he came up to him. He was pretty close to them, but still, why are you pushing somebody who is not even of equal strength?
Because they don't care. The idea is to show you that they are in control. Why would I care that you're a frail old man? I mean, there's several videos of them knocking over frail old mans in different cities.
Yes, it's funny though, but it's kind of funny a little bit because in one video they had is an old guy. He was walking away from them. He ran up to him, push him.
Yeah, he was walking away with a cane. He has a cane. He can't move that fast. I guess he wasn't moving fast enough for him.
Right. He came on there and boofed him, and I'm like, what was that for?
Again, it's to show the general populace that they are in control.
I guess they put some Looney Tunes music to it, making fun of you, but
listen, my only thing is that you got a mass of people protesting police brutality. The very least you could do is not brutalize those people.
Hey, did not prove them right.
Exactly, but can't have that happen. So yeah, it's extremely, extremely stupid watching all of these videos of peaceful protesters getting beat up by police. But then again, it's not like we haven't seen this before.
No.
America has a tried and true history of it.
And what about the images of you see officers kneeling with the protesters, and then then beforehand, I guess, and then like.
Right. I mean, some of them were genuine, but quite a few of them, they were pandering to the crowd. They were doing it for a photo op to say, this is what we're doing. And then those same officers, you see them beating the shit out of protesters. Said, the hour before, it was for the photo op. But then when push come to shove, they assert their authority.
Yeah, I felt as though it was for. You really can't, if it's just a picture, you can't tell who's genuine, who's not.
Right.
But then you see the image of them beating somebody up or
Right, exactly after, sometime after we taken the photo. Some of those instances were genuine. People were there in solidarity with the protesters. Mm-hmm. But then quite a few of them were just for photo ops and pandering.
You gotta watch out for them. Because they want to see like they on our side, but then they're like, oh, I'm gonna still do my job. You got out of pocket, which is to, I guess, to fuck them up.
Again, the police force, as I've stated before, and with most organizations in that same vein, it's an us versus them. We are all of the police. We are us. This is our family. These are your brothers. These are your sisters. We protect each other. Everybody else is the enemy.
That's a bad mentality to have.
It's how humans have survived so long.
Or is that how the police have survived so long?
Aren't they humans?
Sure. But I mean, this is the police we're talking about, though.
I'm just saying, but the us versus them, the collective and shunning the outside is how humans have evolved to survive. It's in our collective nature. Think about the fact that how close are you to people you don't know?
Say that again?
How close are you to people you don't know?
Not close at all.
And how often would you be willing to fight somebody that you don't know for somebody that you do? And so it's the exact same thing. The police, it's their collective group. And the protest to police brutality is an attack on their group. I mean, there's some psychology behind it, but, granted, it's extremely stilted, whereas they're armed to the teeth. And the protesters just got signs and shit.
They got some bricks somewhere and some rocks, so do what you gotta do. So with speaking of the police, there's been a lot of talk about defunding the police.
Right.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah. I mean, in some places the standard right now, Camden, New Jersey, have defunded the police. The idea of defunding the police is instead of investing all of the millions of dollars that they do in the police force, which is for most cities a substantial budget, you cut back that and invest it into the communities that need it. Okay. So more community services, more mental health services, so that the police aren't doing 100 jobs. Because right now, if there's a homeless person out on the street, who do you call?
The police.
Somebody breaking into your house, who do you call?
The police.
If there's a mental person that's doing something in the neighborhood, who do you call?
The police.
They are not fit to handle all of these situations. So the idea is that you take some of that funding away, put it into the communities so that there's other buffers to handle specific situations so that the police don't have to handle everything. Which makes sense. And studies have shown when you invest money into the communities, they tend to do better. You invest money into education, you have less crime. As opposed to giving a bunch of individuals in the police force military weapons.
No.
It's crazy how these things work.
So has this worked overseas? A lot of times I ask that is because you see a lot of times where something happens overseas first and then America will try to like adopt that idea.
Well, I mean, there's several places where this is working. I mean, even in America, Camden, New Jersey did this. They defunded the police. I mean, it was one of the worst areas in New Jersey. And once they defunded the police and started investing those millions of dollars into the communities, they saw like a 33% drop in violent crime. Wow. Over the span of a few years. So we have evidence of these types of programs working. But when you defund the police, you know who gets pissed off? Police unions.
Because they're not getting that money.
Booyah.
Yeah, I think when people first hear of defunding the police, they're thinking that they're going to abolish the police
Right.
department itself, but no, you still need the police itself.
Right. You still want to have some level of law enforcement, but you want to put money where it's going to be most effective. And we've seen time and time again, putting all that money into the police force does not make it effective.
Right, because you got the police doing too much, and then they're getting taxed. Because that's got to be wearing on your mental to doing all these different jobs.
Giving them better weapons doesn't make them effective at de-escalating situations.
They ain't better weapons. You get them military grade weapons.
Better weapons. Giving them better weapons does not make them better at de-escalating situations and resolving situations. I said, if I spend my entire time as a hammer, everything becomes a nail.
How should they approach handling situations when it comes to black people? Is that something that comes with training or some kind of therapy or?
Well, we've tried, bias training police officers who have been shaped by bias, by all of the media that they've seen, or, their own personal biases about black people. We've tried that training and we realized that it's not very effective. I think one of the protests, it may have been in Seattle, is a black guy. He was the trainer for the police, for impartial bias. He was proud of the police for showing restraint, but he was in one of the protests and they beat his ass. The person who trains them about bias, if irony was a woman, she was twerking her ass off that day. Because he got on air and he was like, I want to praise the police for their restraint, with the protesters. And then the next day at a protest, they beat his ass.
They had it out for his ass.
I don't know if they had it out for him, but he was a black man in the crowd and that crowd got beat on and he was one of the people that got beat on hard.
Jesus.
So we know that even training police to try to look past their bias is not as effective as funneling money into the communities through community services and education.
Okay.
So to disband the police, change the way your hiring process, hire new people on, and give them less tasks that they need to accomplish in the community. And have police who actually live in the communities that they service.
No, I see. So do you think we could be a society where we didn't have police at all, we police ourselves?
I mean, you're going to always want to have some level of law enforcement because of the fact that there's always going to be individuals who want to take advantage of a situation. There's just no way around that. That's human nature. But you don't need the police to handle every situation.
True.
So will we ever be a utopian society where somebody steps in and says, hey, don't do that. But if I'm an individual who wants to do that and I don't give a fuck about you, I'm going to do it. Whatever it is that you're trying to stop me from doing.
You can sit on drugs, huh?
If I'm an individual who wants to do it and I don't give a fuck about you, I'm going to do it. So you want to have some level of law enforcement in those types of situations.
Well, I think that's true. Because I just see I was seeing a lot of comments, people saying we don't need the police, we can police ourselves, get rid of police. And I think that more so stems from how the police were originated.
Right, in a general lack of trust in the police as well.
So I don't think you can just get rid of that establishment. I would like to see, definitely a lot of changes being made, more training for those new cadets or whatever rank they're coming in at. That way they're not hurting people of color or anybody, period, or using excessive force in certain situations that don't require it. And something, that it's some kind of I know it's not common sense per se, but bit of judgment on their part. Yeah,
and also not just from changing the police force, but changing the laws surrounding the police so that they have greater accountability for their actions. Because again, we can do all of these things to change the mindset of the police, but if they fuck up and they fuck up terribly and purposely, and they can't be held accountable for it, why would they give a fuck about fixing the fuck up?
Right, because they convicted the guy who had his knee.
David Chauvin, I believe his name is.
Yeah, David Chauvin, who killed George Floyd. He's looking at second degree murder. I think they released one guy on bond, another guy on bond, but the other two they're still waiting to see what's going on with that. Now with Breonna Taylor, her case, there's no conviction of those 3 officers,
Right.
and so that's kind of got a lot of people worried that because of George Floyd, I think he got so much attention. Her name kind of got lost in the sauce in a sense.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, has forgotten about her.
No, I don't think so. She's been forgotten about, but I don't think it's something for some reason not enough light is being shed on that situation.
Yeah, so I think because based off of what has recently happened, that police department, the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department, who investigated themselves, I put air quotes in investigate, came, produced their report from the incident, and it was like a 4-page report with basically nothing in it. They had just her name, some descriptions, and I think for injuries they put none.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Right, and there was a 4-page report with basically absolutely nothing in it. So again, changing the laws around the police department in Louisville, they passed a new law.
The no knock.
Yeah, the Breonna Taylor law.
Breonna's law.
Yeah, Breonna's law.
Banning no knock warrants. Okay, is that clapworthy?
Sure. I mean, it's something. It's the bare minimum, but the bare minimum is something. A step forward is still a step forward.
Right. So yeah, that's definitely good to hear that they've passed a law. No knock warrants, because again, she would be alive today if that didn't happen.
Right.
So, but yeah, I believe this is just conspiracy theory person in me.
Okay.
I feel like these officers are trying to work a deal out to get like a lesser sentence. And I guess that may be watching too much Law and Order.
Probably.
Because I feel like it's been going on for this happened back in May? No, in March.
Yeah, March.
It happened in March. I don't know when we got light of it in a sense, but it seemed like that they're like trying to negotiate a deal where like, yeah, we know we fucked up, but we won't serve that much time.
Well, I mean, a thing about court cases take time, which a lot of people don't realize that with investigations and court cases, it could be a year before you get sentencing most times in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that's true.
So court cases take time. So the thing that, because it didn't happen immediately doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. I mean, granted, in a lot of cases, it doesn't happen when it involves police, but court cases take time.
Sure.
And especially with COVID going around, a lot of courts are closed.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I hope they're doing something happens soon. I mean, yes, the Breonna's law passing, that's a step in the right direction, but these also do need to be charged.
Right. Yeah. Again, that's a bare minimum. Accountability is the thing that we really need to have happen in police departments.
Yeah. And then what we talked about last time with regarding her case, the judge have signed off on that warrant.
Right.
So it seems like this is going to trickle down to a lot of people probably higher up and the very bottom as well.
And as it should.
So it's like, I'm pretty sure they investigated it and it was like, oh shit, there's a lot of people involved. I don't know, they may not know where to start or where to start the conviction with, but somebody need to be charged. I can't say soon, but hopefully in the next, I can't put a timestamp on that, but
right. You want there to be some justice.
Yeah.
For the situation.
Because they already let the boyfriend go. He's not facing any charges.
Right.
So, but I don't think that's going, I hope that's not the end all the be all. Like, okay, we letting you go in a sense, and we're going to let these guys go because that was a mistake and we really fucked up. But, if you sue us, we'll pay you. And then all bygones be bygones. But I hope that's not the case at all.
So the George Floyd case was not the case, but the video was the spark for this particular moment in history. And hopefully it'll continue to push so that there's some serious reform done in police departments and the law itself. But we'll see.
Just something you said to piggyback off of I saw some clip on the news. A lawyer, I think it was a lawyer, he said that why didn't a civilian help out George Floyd? And why he was why the officer was nailing his neck. And I'm thinking to myself, you got somebody recording that. You have other officers that are armed. Like I don't think that's a fair expectation to have of someone that would like want to jump in and maybe save somebody.
Well, especially when it comes to an action by the police officers, because we spend the entirety of our lives being, told that the police officers are the authority. You need to respect what they're doing. You need to follow their orders. So when you see them doing something wrong, it doesn't immediately break into your brain that I need to do something to stop this, because it's a police officer.
Right.
And it's an authority figure, and if you do something and they retaliate, you'll look like you're in the wrong. And even if they don't retaliate immediately, they can retaliate, and 9 times out of 10 get away with it. And there's also the bystander effect. The bystander effect is an incident is occurring. I'm one of 100 people watching this incident. In my mind, there's 100 people. I know somebody's going to help. So it doesn't have to be me. And everybody is thinking that. So you can have incidents, and there have been incidents where a woman is killed or somebody is raped with spectators around, because in everybody's mind, somebody's going to do something about it. It doesn't have to be me.
That's an interesting thought.
So for a lawyer to say that, why didn't somebody do something about it, is him just being daft.
That's put it nicely.
Yeah, that's very nicely.
I don't know. I mean, you hope that you never know kind of situations like that, and where you don't have to witness something like that. Because I think that's just terrifying to see. I remember, like, I was in middle school, I saw a girl get jumped, and I was so many feet away, and my body didn't move, but my spirit wanted to help her. Right. But by then I seen her friends that were closer than me. I figured they would help her out, but all they would do was like saying, "No, stop, get off of her." It was like 3-on-1, and I'm like, why aren't they helping her or jumping in with it? It'd been an even fight. But again, like you're just kind of stuck in this moment of you can't believe it's happening while it's happening. So
right, and then also it's like, okay, you said it yourself. You see her friends there, you think, okay, they're definitely going to help her. I don't need to do anything. They got this.
Right. I thought they did. They didn't. They weren't good friends.
Or they might have been great friends. They just weren't prepared for that situation.
That too. And now everybody's a fighter.
Right.
So, also with switching a little bit here. We have a new mayor here in Baltimore City. Right. We got Breonna Scott, who won mayoral race. So,
pretty close margin to Sheila Dixon.
I was scared. I ain't gonna lie.
For the people listening to this on SoundCloud and other places, the face that I have right now is one of bewilderment that the race was so close.
I ain't gonna lie. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised. Well, I was surprised to a certain extent that Sheila Dixon carried a lead for like 2 days. Right. Because I'm like, how?
Yeah, she was in the lead, and then he snuck past her and won, but not by a very wide margin.
Because I did not want to see Sheila Dixon again as mayor.
I mean, again, with her track record, but hey, we love our people. Like we talked before some time back, Marion Barry, crack head, and eventually came back and got reelected.
You will let your crackhead uncle back in every now and then.
So Sheila Dixon the same way. So we know what she about. So the fact that she could come back some years later and say, I'm going to take my position back. And people was like, you know what? You're right. You should. Yeah, we down for our people.
Yeah. Yeah. She has a cult following too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
A lot of people were like, oh, I love Sheila Dixon.
I know.
And it's like, what did she do? She brought crime down. Well, how? Well,
Oh, no, nobody can tell you anything about what she did. But they know she did something.
They can tell you about that night when the cameras rolled up on her ass, she was throwing shit at him. That's what I remember.
So I don't know much about Breonna Scott. Only thing that I know about him previously is that he was the president of the city council. Yes. And him and I are the same age.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good to see some young blood. I think it's like I'm an old head or something saying that.
Right.
Oh, young blood. But I'm glad to see somebody young in there with some fresh ideas, a different perspective, someone who is in touch with the culture, in touch with the city, can put that, as their finger on the pulse in a sense.
I mean, it's kind of in tune to what I was saying the last time about, the older generations need to die out.
Exactly.
And this is the kind of that case. You get to a certain age, you become completely stuck in your ways.
Yeah.
So it's going to be harder for you to look at younger generations coming up and saying, okay, this is what these younger generations need. Gonna want to be thinking back to the halcyon days of old when your nostalgia kicked in, and the old days were the best days, even though they probably weren't. So having a younger person go into office is definitely going to shake things up.
Yeah.
Hopefully for the better.
Yeah, and Jack Young gave him some advice. Don't fall into the corruption. But in so many words, I'm paraphrasing. So
right. Because we have had a string of mayors,
right?
Where corruption was the name of the game.
Like Brandon Scott, look, you can have all the baby mamas you want, just don't do the corruptive shit
while you in office.
Right.
After you leave office, throw your hands up.
Do what you want.
Do what you want to do.
Do what you want. But I think it's time. I think Baltimore is due for I won't say a radical change, but definitely some new way of thinking. And something in the right direction.
Right.
So, Jack Young, he tried. I think he was given he was left with a bad hand, so you couldn't do but so much.
I mean, maybe he could have, but I don't really know what he did. I guess I should have done some research. But he didn't make any waves. Think about the only wave he was the police commissioner.
No, I think that was Catherine Pugh.
You know what? Yeah, that was Pugh.
Yeah, it was Catherine Pugh.
So yeah, he didn't make any waves. Mm-mm. So I guess about the best that he did was just not be overtly corrupt.
Yeah.
Which is about the bare minimum.
That's a running theme for this episode, ain't it?
Right, doing the bare minimum.
Look, racism, we asking for the bare minimum.
Doing the bare minimum.
We don't want you to not hire us and call us niggas and stuff like that. With civil rights, bare minimum.
Right, just doing the bare minimum.
So Colin Kaepernick, his name's been out about in the news again, just because of the fact that the NFL came up with that apology.
Right.
And now it's like, you owe him an apology now. He needs to be playing. He should be playing. He should have been playing a long time ago.
I mean, well, we talked about this already.
So, I will say is that you don't follow football or sports, period. But the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, he came out with a statement that somebody asked him about if players were protesting how we feel, and he came back a statement saying that, well, they protest against the flag. I'm not supporting it at all. I'm really against it. And he pretty much just bashed it.
Oh yeah, I did read that because he's an idiot and he's a little naive because he followed the same rhetoric that people who are protesting during the playing of the national anthem are protesting the flag and the people in the military,
right?
Which we know for a fact that's not the case.
Exactly. Yeah. When they came out when it was happening in 2016, he was definitely against protesting against the flag because of that rhetoric of it's against the military,
right,
in our country and things like that. But Colin Kaepernick has said that no, it's against police brutality, nothing against the military.
Right. So I would more so. Like, he's not being nefarious, more so than he's just a naive idiot.
I can go with that. I think there's a lot of white guys out there like that who are naive and thinking that they don't see or hear what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, especially when their experiences are drastically different from yours.
You're very true. I would say he grew up privileged. Like, his parents were both lawyers.
Right.
Pretty sure he had a cushy upbringing. So
yeah, so it's extremely hard to put yourself in a position of somebody else when their experiences are drastically different.
Yeah, so there was a lot of comments from his teammates saying that he don't know no better. He talked to them. They've called him out and everything like that. So he came out with 2 apologies, and then he even went at Trump saying that the protest is not about the flag, it's about the police brutality. So
right, again, it's like I said, he's more of a naive idiot than actually malicious. Mm-hmm. Find your teachable moments.
Exactly, and I think that's what I was about to get at. That is that hopefully we have more moments like that. We can say, hey, no, it's not like this. It's like that.
Right.
And please just listen and hear what we're talking about, and feel where we're coming from.
Yeah.
So,
find your teachable moments.
Have you well, you're not on social media at all, right?
No.
Oh, so you don't get no kind of spat with nobody online?
Who has time for that? The fuck?
I'm just curious because I see a lot of people going back and forth on Facebook. And,
Yeah,
Twitter,
and I've
Instagram.
talked to people who do that. Why?
It's a thing.
There's not enough time in the day for that shit.
It's a thing.
And you are definitely not going to change. Your 5-minute rant on Twitter is not going to change anybody's goddamn mind.
All I know is that I'm not going to. I don't have the time to go back and forth with anybody. I don't say time, but like it's not conducive.
Right. I don't have the time, nor the energy, nor the gumption.
To point somebody's flaws out and try to
Right,
change their way
yeah.
of thinking.
Nope. No, it's not going to happen in some 5-minute rant on Twitter. So, yeah, I don't have the energy
I
for that.
can remember reading like Yahoo articles before like Instagram and Facebook
Right.
took off like that, and just reading Yahoo articles and then like reading the comments and how racy it was and racism was just filling these
Well,
comments.
anonymity will do that to you. When nobody knows who you are, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
But now we do because you want to post your picture on social media.
I
Now
mean,
we know where you work at.
if you're going to be going through and cross-referencing people, I'm just going to say that you got more issues than they got.
Speaking of cross-referencing, did you hear about the story about, what's that place called? Vince's Crab House out here in Middle River?
Mm-mm.
So the owner of Vince's Crab House had said some racy stuff on social media. And so they protested his ass last Saturday
Oh, well,
in his store and everything. You can see his face, like just the utter defeat he had, like, oh, goddamn.
he should have known. Especially if you are the owner of a business. Think about the hill you want to die on.
I'm sorry, I didn't say out here in Middle River. We're not out in Middle River, but yeah, out there in Middle River.
Yeah, out in Middle River. But yeah, you think about the hill you want to die on.
Like he had. I can't even say the number of people out there, but a lot of people in his establishment that were protesting the business, and it looked like at any given point they could just overthrow the store.
Oh yeah.
So-
yeah. If they wanted to.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they
A lot of these protest situations, I like that.
Yeah, so he said some racial stuff. I had to pull it up, but if you have a business, be mindful of your audience, respect your customers, and if you don't like those customers, get up and move, I guess.
Yeah, find an area where you don't have to serve the people that you hate.
Well, anything you want to touch on?
I think that covers everything.
So if you're out there protesting, please be safe.
Remember, coronavirus is still a thing.
Yes.
So try to social distance. That is of extreme importance, even while you're protesting.
Yes, because there are people they'll still cough, spit, and sneeze. I'm one of them. I cough and spit.
I mean, please don't do it in my general direction.
Oh, you be all right. So
Fuck all that.
yeah, be very mindful. Corona's still out there protesting. Please be safe. If you are fighting the good fight from behind your computer, I would say you don't gotta do all that. Put your energy and time something else.
More productive.
Support black-owned businesses. Yeah, we all we got.
Sure. Well, that's the show. And as always, check us out on SoundCloud, Google Music Play, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. Peace out.
Obambe.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, that's what we doing.